All right, hi. We're seeing a lot of people log on. Thank you. We'll give it a little bit, maybe 1 or 2 minutes. Thank you for your patience and thank you for coming. Wow. Okay, I think we're good. We good? Looks like it's leveling out. Cool. All right. So before I get started, I do want to say that this presentation is being recorded. So if you have to hop off early, if you know somebody who couldn't make it, this will be recorded. They'll have complete full access to it. The chat has been turned off, but we will try to provide links and stuff for you as needed. And if you do have a question, we do ask that you submit it to the Google form that was included in the email from this afternoon. And we'll also add it to the chat that you can click on as well. But we're gonna get started. So everyone, welcome. This is the scheduling information for rising freshmen. You're almost high schoolers. We're so excited you're joining us today. We're the Amador Valley Counseling Department. Next slide. Okay, so today we're gonna go over like a big overview. There's a lot to cover in high school, so if we go too fast, I'm sorry. But again, we're recording this so you can reference back as you need. So we're gonna go over who we are and who your future counselor might be, earning credits in high school requirements versus college eligibility requirements, a typical 9th grade course load, math, science, and elective courses, honors courses, A period, Cte Pathways, post-high school planning, so that could be college, career, a gap year, I don't know. Balance versus burnout, so making sure you're taking care of yourself in addition to being mindful and selecting your courses. For your planning, introduce you to our support counselor and how she can support your child. The AV Wellness Center, how to get help from us, links, resources, and specific course information directly from our teachers. Next slide. Okay, so after this presentation, want to encourage you all to check out the spreadsheet. There's a lot of Zoom links, videos, slide decks, presentations of teachers advertising and featuring their courses and really answering a lot of those specific questions that we're seeing about maybe pathways and rigor and, what does this course entail? Is it the right fit for my student? A lot of those questions you can get answered within that spreadsheet by checking out that specific subject area. The subject areas are on the bottom. So the first one I believe is going to be CTE. If you're not interested, you can move on. I believe, next will be English, social studies, etc. Next slide, please. Okay, who are we? So my name is Mrs. Zarinhat. I go by Mrs. Z because I know that's a nightmare for everybody. I have students with the last names Q through S. And let's see, how about my counselors will introduce themselves down the line. So we'll start with the first part of our alphabet. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Mrs. Perry, and I have students with the last names A through C.
Hey everyone, my name is Ms. Ponce and I have students D through H.
Hi, good evening. I'm Ms. Pacheco. I have students with the last names I through L.
Hi everybody, my name is Lauren Bell. I have students with last names M through P.
And hello, my name is Nicole Tuhig, and I am the counselor for students with last name T through Z.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jennifer Yu, and I'm the support counselor. I don't have an alphabet caseload, but you'll learn a little bit more about me later on in the presentation.
Not joining us today, we also have Miss Laura Bays. She's our college and career counselor. She works 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. We also have our ROP specialist who works in our college and career center. She's fantastic. She answers all the questions. I've been there for 8 years and she answers questions that I don't even know. And then we also have Mrs. Sparza. She's our registrar and she is our backbone. She handles our transcripts. I definitely couldn't survive without her. So next slide, please. Okay, so something that's different about high school versus middle school is earning credit. And we get a lot of questions about really throughout the year from all grade levels about credit. So what is a credit? It's units that you earn per class. So if you earn a D- or better, you will earn 5 credits towards that class per semester. It's okay. I don't know what I'm doing. So, and then how do you earn those credits? It's passing with that D- or better. So typically in a 1 school year, you can earn up to 60 credits, assuming that you pass all your classes with a D- or better. So typically a full course load is 6 year-long classes, which is why you'll earn about 60 credits per semester. Can you lose credits? No, you can't. Once you earn the credits, they're yours to keep forever. What happens is you don't earn credits, right? So let's say you're in 6 classes and you don't pass, you earn an F in 1 class, out of the potential 60 credits you earned. So instead of earning 60, you'll earn 55. You'll have an opportunity to make that up in summer school, depending on the course. You may not need to because we do have a 10 credit cushion, right? So if you do the math, if you take 6 classes a year, you go back. It's okay. Okay, so if you take 6 classes a year, you earn 5 credits per class. So you'll have those 30 credits per semester times 2, you have the 60 credits, which can earn you potentially up to 240. So giving you that 10 credit cushion. So if the worst were to happen and you did fail 1 class or 1 semester class, you do have a cushion and not all is lost. So it's okay. Okay, now next slide. Okay, so these are our comparative subject requirements between POC graduation requirements, community college, and then the UC-CSU. So you guys can see it there. You need about 3.5 years, I guess, of social studies to successfully graduate from Amador. So you'll need that semester of global studies, which you'll take as a freshman, world history as a sophomore, US history as a junior, and then your civics and econ as a senior. And those are semester long classes. So you'll start with one or the other. You might start with econ and end with civics or vice versa, but you will take both. But for the UC and CSU, you just need to successfully complete with a C- or better a year of world history and US history, which is embedded in our grad requirements, which is so nice. So area B is English. You need 4 years for UC and CSU as well as high school. Area C, there's a difference here. So you only need 20 credits to graduate. And one of those years must be algebra or its equivalent. However, for the UC and CSU, you need 3 levels. Don't think of it as years. Think of it as levels. So you need to do algebra 1, geometry, algebra 2, and that 4th recommended year is pre-calculus. So that's your 4th level. Anything beyond that is just goes above and beyond it. But it's those levels are the ones you're going to want to hit. Those are the requirements. Then we have science. It's going to be about the same. So you have 1 year of a life science, 1 year of a physical science. A life science is going to be like biology. Your physical science is going to be like chemistry or physics, earth, space, and sciences here. And then the requirements for the UC and CSU are very similar. And then you have a 3rd recommended year, and that could be either or, a life or a physical science. Now, if you're looking outside the UC, you're going to have to look at different requirements for that. Some want physics, chem, and bio, but it's going to vary from college to college. All right, and then we have area E. This is language other than English. So if you see LOTE elsewhere, it means language other than English. So for high school, you actually do not need to take a language other than English to graduate if you fulfill your requirement in another way. It's an either or situation. So if you don't want to take a language other than English, you can take a visual and performing art, or you could take a career technical education course or a CTE course. That's a way you can fulfill it. For UC and CSU, you do need 2 levels. Again, this kind of works the same way as math. So I know that some of you are currently in probably Spanish 1B right now, and that's going to be your 2nd year, technically, right, of Spanish, but it's actually just finishing out the level 1. So if you choose to move on to Spanish 2, your freshman year, your 2nd level has been completed once you earn a C- or better that 2nd semester. And then Spanish 3 will be your level 3, not necessarily your 4th year or what have you. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Yeah, okay, cool. Next slide, please. This is fun stuff. Okay, so area F, this is your visual and performing art, or your VAPA, as we'll probably refer it to often. Again, this is not required to graduate, either or situation. You can either earn that language other than English, the LOT, or a CTE, a year-long CTE course. For the UC and CSU, you do need 1 year, and it needs to be within the same realm. Okay, so you can't take a semester of band and pair it with a semester of Art 1. It has to be Art 1 with drawing, right? Or it has to be band with wind ensemble if the two have to be different, right? So it just has to be within the same realm, which is kind of confusing. So we have students who technically meet it, but unfortunately they don't per the UC. And then we have our career and technical education. Again, not a grad requirement, but you can fulfill it if you choose not to do a visual and performing art or a world language. We'll get into what those courses are in a little bit, but they're very interesting and fun. The UC and CSU at this time is not requiring students to complete a CTE course. PE, you need 20 credits to graduate, 10 of which you will complete as a freshman. All freshmen take PE. There's no way around it. And then you can earn the 10 credits another way, which we can get into. Actually, we can just do it now. So you can either play a sport at Amador, you can take it your sophomore year or full year. You could take it as a senior. Some of our students do. There's a multitude of ways you can do that. All the information is on our website if you want to look a little bit more into that. But nonetheless, you're going to have to complete an equivalent of 2 years to graduate. It's not required for the UC or CSU. However, you need to graduate to be eligible for the UC CSU. So definitely make sure you fulfill your PE requirement. You have 5 credits of health. That's going to also be required as a freshman. And then you have 80 elective credits. I get a ton of questions about this. All of us do. By the time you're a junior, I get a lot of panicked emails asking oh my God, how am I supposed to fulfill all these elective credits? I'm freaking out, because I have all this math and English to take or what have you. So anything that goes above and beyond a graduation requirement will immediately go to the elective pool. So for example, if you're a junior and you're taking Algebra 2, but you've already completed Algebra 1 and geometry, those Algebra 2 credits are going to go to your elective credits, and they're not going to just stick with math. Yes, it's a math course. College will see it, they'll count it as a math, but for us, it's going to go into that elective pool. So please don't stress about that. To earn credits, as I said, you only need a D- or better, and you're on your way to graduate. If you want to be CSU, UC eligible, you want to make sure you earn a C- or better in all of those A through G, in those A through D courses. There are no testing requirements to graduate high school other than the exams maybe in your courses. For the UC and CSU at this time, there are no testing requirements, which is very exciting. So you could take that off your plate. One less thing to worry about. And then we have our community service requirement. It's 20 hours, which you can begin as soon as you're done with 8th grade. It used to be your senior year, but now you can complete it anytime after the first day of 9th grade, which is going to be sometime in August. Okay. The UC and CSU requirement doesn't have a volunteer or community service requirement. However, they do have a piece on the application where you can highlight that if that's something that's important to you. Next slide. Okay, so this is a typical 9th grade course load. Not all one size fits all. So everybody's is going to look very different, but this is typically what we see in the 9th grade year because it hits a lot of requirements. So Algebra 1, that is a California state requirement. A lot of our students start their freshman year in Algebra 1. Got to get that out of the way. PE, all freshmen, again, no way around it. You absolutely have to take PE in order to graduate. English, no way around that. You have to take English. This is your first year. In order to graduate, you have 2 options. You could do your college prep or honors. Global studies and health, those are each a semester long each, required, no way around it. So you might start off your first semester in health and then second global studies or vice versa, but you got to take it. Many of our students begin a world language or they continue a world language from middle school. And they choose to just get that started the freshman year, but you don't have to. And science, we often see a lot of our students take a science. Now, this typical course load is pretty rigorous because you have pretty much all those 5 academic classes that could be challenging or can be challenging at the high school level. So don't feel like you are married to this. This is just typically what we see, but it is not required. If you don't want to start your science right away, if you don't want to start a world language right away, you absolutely do not have to. You can explore one of our amazing art courses. You can try a CTE course. A lot of our students like to try like to get into one of the CTE pathways, like for example, engineering. They might want to push off maybe their science requirement to the sophomore or junior year in order to finish out the engineering sequence. So please look at our course catalog and all the options, but don't feel like you are required to do anything that you're not ready for. Okay, just make sure you hit the requirements as you can on your own timeline. And I'm going to pass this on to Miss Perry.
All right. Thank you very much. So I'm going to be covering a few of the required courses that Miss C just hit on. So the first thing that every freshman will be taking is English. You need 4 years to graduate. So for English, you have 2 options. We have our regular college prep course. This course is required, like I said. There will be various project-based assessments that will be testing your understanding of the content. And it's also the first opportunity that you'll have to pass district's speech proficiency requirement for graduation. You will be exposed to new vocabulary and you'll be focusing on grammar and the mechanics of writing. You'll also be exposed to different modes of writing. That includes the narrative, literary analysis, the argumentative writing, and in-class and process writing. And on the right side of the slide, you'll see some of the different texts that you might be reading. So I won't go through all of them, but quite a few various options there. Next slide, please. So honors freshman English, this is your second option for the English requirement. So I would say if you're strong in English, that's a subject that you like reading and writing, this might be something that you might want to consider in your course selection. It's a non-weighted honors course, but it is a course that you might want to show that you're challenging yourself as a freshman, again, if it's a strong subject for you. Like I said, it's a bit more challenging, a little bit more rigorous, and it will require more extensive reading than our regular college prep course will. And on the right side, again, we have a few different texts that will be covered or may be covered in addition to the list that was on the previous slide. All right, so the next 2 courses, they're both required. Like Ms. C said, both are semester-long courses, and you have a few options for global studies, which I'll get into. Next slide. So for global studies, like I was saying, you have 2 options. We have our regular college prep global studies course. It's a semester-long course, so you'll take it August to January or January to June. So depending if you start with health, then you'll go to global. If you start with global, you'll go to health second semester. For global studies specifically, both courses, both honors and regular, will cover geography and cultural studies. There's an emphasis on unresolved problems of the modern world. The honors course covers the same material that our college prep course does, but it's more demanding, it's taught at a faster pace, and it covers the topics in more depth. And there's also a required research project and presentation that you'll be doing if you take the honors global studies course. I would say, again, just like English, if you like social studies, you like history, the honors course might be something that you might want to consider when you are doing your course selections. Next slide. Okay, and health education, this is the other required course. It's a semester-long course, which is paired with global studies, like I said. It's required for all freshmen to take. It's a semester-long course. The course, like it sounds, covers physical, mental, emotional, and social aspects of health. And it focuses primarily on how you as a student can play a role in your own health and well-being, which is pretty cool. And some of the topics that are covered in the class are life management skills, nutrition, physical activity, among a bunch of other topics. So I think that's the end of my slides. I think Ms. Bell, you have math?
Yes. Hi, I'm going to be talking about math and science. And to start off, I would just like to say that for the math pathway for incoming freshmen, it's a very individualized pathway. So our 8th grade students, you're currently in 8th grade and you are taking a variety of different math courses. So where students start their math journey in the 9th grade depends on what math class you are currently taking in 8th grade. There's no universal best math placement for freshmen. And we really encourage students to make the best choice for themselves based on your own needs, abilities, and interests, and just really considering all that is on your plate as you enter high school. We don't want anybody ending up like the gift down at the bottom there, just floating in numbers. So I will just quickly give an overview of the typical math pathways. This presentation was emailed out to everybody, and it'll also be posted on the counseling website if you ever want to refer back to this. But generally speaking, we see freshmen start their math pathway at the Algebra 1 level. And that is the appropriate placement if your student is currently in Math 8 as an 8th grader. We sometimes get questions about, I'm in Math 8 right now, and I really want to start in geometry as a 9th grader. And we actually double check to see that students have completed Algebra 1 prior to taking geometry because 2 reasons. One, Algebra 1 is a requirement by the state of California to graduate from high school. But 2, it's just really, really important that your student have a strong foundation in Algebra 1 in order to be successful in the subsequent math courses that they will take, like geometry, Algebra 2, pre-calculus, etc. So we really don't advise sort of skipping ahead in math or taking courses over the summer, just because taking a summer course, you're not really getting the full depth and exposure to the curriculum that you're going to need going forward in math. We're really talking about taking a full year of Algebra 1 content, for example, and kind of condensing that down into 6 weeks. And unfortunately, we sometimes do see students struggle when they continue on in the upper level math courses. So that is kind of the pathway. So if you're in Math 8 right now, you'll move to Algebra 1 and then geometry in 10th grade. There are a couple options for that pathway. But the typical sequence in high school is Algebra 1, geometry or the equivalent, Algebra 2 or the equivalent, and then perhaps pre-calculus or calculus as a senior. If your student is currently taking Algebra 1 in 8th grade, your next math course would be geometry. There are 2 options there. There's the college prep geometry course and the honors level geometry course. And I'll talk about the differences there on the next slide. And then if your student is currently taking geometry in 8th grade, the next course would be Algebra 2 or honors Algebra 2. And you can see sort of the different trajectories on the chart. So just to reiterate, if your student's in Math 8 right now, you would request the next course in the pathway, Algebra 1. As I mentioned earlier, when you sign up for classes in Q, you will see all of the courses available, but we would strongly advise you to sign up for Algebra 1 if you're currently in Math 8. Like I said, we do a check of students who were in Math 8 in 8th grade, but have requested geometry for the 9th grade year, really because we want to ensure that you have a strong Algebra 1 foundation to be successful in high school math. The next course that we often see students enrolled in 8th grade is Math 8/Algebra 1 or Algebra 1, and your next math course in the pathway would be geometry or honors geometry. if you're currently in geometry or honors geometry in 8th grade, your next course will be Algebra 2 or honors Algebra 2. And we do really recommend that you, as students and parents, work with your current math teacher to get their recommendation about math course placement for high school, specifically between geometry or honors geometry, or Algebra 2 and honors Algebra 2. Your current math teacher has the best sense of the type of math student you are and your strengths, and can really advise on sort of the pace at which they think you would be successful in math in high school. But we really do want to stress that students need to be thinking holistically about their course choices. So taking honors geometry because your math teacher thinks that you can do it is a great decision if that fits for you. But if you feel like you might be overloaded with an honors geometry course, or and honors global studies or something like that, then we would really want you to think holistically about all of the courses in total that you're choosing. And I will just note, if your student has an IEP, we would recommend that you check with your current case manager and or current math teacher about math placement for high school. All right, moving on, science. As freshmen, you do have science courses available to you. However, it's not required for students to take the science their freshman year. We often see students sort of postpone those requirements until later in high school, and that's totally fine. We understand there are a lot of courses offered at Amador, and that there's a lot that people are interested in, and a lot of requirements we feel like we have to get taken care of, but we really do want to stress there's enough time in high school to take all the required courses and explore around to consider your options. So if you feel like you're not quite ready for science, that's fine. But if you're ready to go, biology and the principles of biomedical science are available to freshmen, and both fulfill the life science graduation requirement and the requirement for lab science for four-year college eligibility. And we do have a note here to just double check the program guide for the prerequisites listed for each course, because sometimes science courses we like to see students have a certain math background in order to be successful in that particular science course. So be sure to read the course description in the program guide. And then for the physical science graduation requirement, we're really excited to offer Earth and Space Science next year. It's a brand new course. It'll be covering the Earth structure, geology, climate, basic astronomy, and it should be a pretty hands-on and fun, exciting class that kind of introduces students to their first physical science in high school. The other options for physical science at the freshman level are chemistry and physics. But again, you really do want to read the course description outlines, because these two courses in particular require that students have a strong algebra background. So taking Algebra 1 and chemistry or physics at the same time could be really challenging, because you're learning some of the algebra content that you need to draw upon in the science course. So again, read the course description in the program guide. And then finally, I'll close with science. As with math, that it's really important to choose the class that's best for you. We've listed out here the short version of the prerequisites for each science class, and we'd really encourage you to think these over as you're making your choices. Often we see students in the freshman year take biology, and sometimes that's a great fit for students, but sometimes it can be a little difficult because it requires strong reading comprehension, very independent style of learning for students, and a lot of abstract thinking skills. So if that has at all proven difficult in middle school, it might be something to think about delaying the biology requirement for another year, or the life science requirement for another year. And we would encourage you to think about chemistry and physics and principles of biomed as well, but again, considering all that's on your plate and what course and route is really the best option for you. All right, and now I will hand it over to Ms. Pacheco.
Thanks, Ms. Bell. So I'm going to cover the elective option. So prior to this, the counselors have gone over, you have to take an English, you have to take health and global studies, you need to take PE, you need to take math. And so you have two other courses that you're selecting. So you're electing to take them. So that's why they're called electives. So there are a ton of different courses that you can choose from. As a freshman, you don't have as many choices as you will have when you get older. Sophomore year, you'll have access to even more elective options. Your junior and senior year, you'll have access to some of the ROP courses that are offered at other high schools. So that's why you have to be an 11th or 12th grader, because there's transportation that might need to be required. But as you're looking at your classes for next year, really think about what your goals are for high school and post high school. I know it's hard to think about that as an 8th grader, but we also want you to explore your interests, because really this is the time for you to start to look at what classes are your favorite classes. Are you going to want to take more classes in those particular subjects? Yes, you probably are. Do you have a major in mind for college? Do you have a career in mind that you want to pursue after high school? So high school is really the time for you to explore and see what areas that you're interested in and take classes that you're interested in. So that way you can find out if, yes, 100%, that's the field I want to go into. That's what I want to major in. Or maybe you take a class that you think you'd be really interested in, and then you get in there and you're like, oh no, this isn't my thing. And high school is a good time to find that out. So really, as you're selecting your classes, you're looking at your goals for high school, your goals post high school, and then courses that interest you. You can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So you have two courses to choose from. So your first choice potentially could be a language other than English. That's what LOTE stands for. Our language options are American Sign Language, or we like to call it ASL, Mandarin, French, Japanese, Korean, and Spanish. So if you did not take a language in middle school and you want to start your language next year, you probably would be starting out at the first level. So like Sign Language 1 or Spanish 1. If you've completed Spanish 1A, Spanish 1B, I would say with a B or above, recommended. You have a pretty strong foundation in Spanish. You could go on to Spanish 2 next year. And we've shared with you that there's a 2-year language requirement for college admissions. They recommend 3, and they're really looking at your level. So if you start your freshman year at Spanish 2, that's going to count as 2 years of Spanish for college admissions. And then your sophomore year, if you do Spanish 3, that's going to count as your 3rd year. If you're in the dual immersion program, typically you start out in Spanish 3 as a freshman. It can vary depending on what your level of understanding is, but typically that would be the course that you would select as a freshman. There are English electives, so there's creative writing, debate, journalism, publications, which is our yearbook class. Ms. Bell went over the science options. VAPA, that's visual and performing arts courses. You do need a consecutive year of that for college admissions. So you're looking at art, digital arts, drama, band, choir, orchestra, photography, theater production, video production, ceramics. The CTE courses, and CTE stands for Career and Technical Education. And then ROP were the courses that I was talking about that are sometimes offered at other campuses. So like auto mechanics, or the psychology developmental of children, if you're interested in maybe becoming a teacher. So We also have a video game course that's offered off campus. That's also a ROP class. So there's more options, like I said, for courses as you guys get older. Some other options are computer science, culinary skills, intro to engineering, intro to criminal justice, and sports med. Other courses that are also ones that you can select. One is leadership, and leadership is a class that organizes and plans all the rallies and dances and lunchtime activities. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure that you fill out an application for that. And then Avid, I happen to be the Avid counselor. So we will be sending out Avid letters in the next couple of weeks, inviting you to our Avid information night. I don't have the date quite yet. It's also going to be over Zoom, but you should be getting the information soon. And that course helps support kids with note-taking, preparing for tests. We have tutorials a couple days a week, and it's really kind of a family atmosphere where the kids stay together all 4 years. They navigate high school together. We help them with, support them with their college applications. When it's not COVID, we go on field trips. So that's a really great program as well. And it also requires an application. So you have a lot of amazing choices for you to make for your 2 elective courses for your freshman year. Next slide, please. So career and technical education. This is talking about the Cte Pathways. And you can see that they fall into many different categories. You don't have to start taking it your freshman year, but you may want to. And really, they're looking to have you take 2 classes in the field that you're interested in. And usually your second course is a higher level course or a second course in the sequence. And you usually have guest speakers, you do a project. Again, when it's not in COVID, you might have an opportunity for an internship or going on field trips. But really, it's trying to expose you to what careers are available in those particular areas, just to see if maybe that particular career or job might be a good fit for you. And again, the more information that you get now, the more helpful it'll be for you to make decisions on what you want to pursue in the future. Because you could find out now, like, yes, this is me. This is what I want to do. I'm 100% in. Or you could take a class and be like, oh yeah, I just don't really feel like that's a great fit for me, but I'm also interested in this, and maybe I'll take some classes in that area instead. Okay, next slide. If you are a band student, so if you're doing orchestra or band or also choir, you have the options of having an A period. So typically students have periods 1 through 6. If you have an A period, then you go A through 6, and you have a class. This year it starts at 7:30. I like the comment says, no, thanks, I'm not a morning person. So if you're not a morning person, maybe not the best idea. But if you are, a morning person, and you are a music student, you do have the opportunity to have an A period. The A period class will be PE. So if you want to have an A period, the way that you sign up for your classes for next year is that you're going to sign up for English, math, PE, health and global studies, concert band. Sorry, I said that wrong. Back up. No PE. So you're going to sign up for English, math, global studies, and health, concert band, and then your 2 other electives that you want to take. So you're not going to sign up for PE. So do not sign up for PE. We will add it into your schedule later. That's how we'll know that you want the A period. If you do not want the A period, which is fine. I mean, it is early. And so if you're not a morning person and you don't want to take an additional class during the day, totally get it. No pressure for you to do that. You'll still be able to get all your classes in for graduation and all your classes in for meeting college requirements, so no pressure. The way you would sign up is you would sign up for the English, math, PE, global studies and health, concert band, and then you would add your additional elective course. So that's how you would sign up for band for next year if you're a music student. Next slide, please. Honors courses. Honors courses are more rigorous than college prep courses. So at the freshman level, you have 2 classes that you get to decide whether you want to take college prep or honors. So honors freshman English is going to be a little bit more challenging, and we went over this a little bit earlier. It's going to be a little bit more challenging than your regular college prep English class. You don't get the extra GPA boost. What that means is for a college prep course, an A is worth 4 grade points, a B is worth 3, a C is worth 2, a D is worth 1, and an F is worth 0. If you're in, for AP courses, they are weighted, and their GPA, an A would be worth 5, a B is worth 4, a C is worth 3, a D, they don't weight, so it'd still be 1, and then an F would be 0. So we do have a handful of honors courses that also get that extra GPA boost. I mean, I can rattle them out, but they're for when you're older. So it's honors pre-cal, honors We the People, which is a senior level class, honors French 5. So they're when you get older. So the honors freshman English and the honors global studies are not weighted. So if you got an A, it'd be a 4-point A in English, honors English, it'd be a 4-point A in global studies. However, some colleges do look to see the level of rigor of your course loads. They do look at the number of honors and when you get older, number of AP courses that you've taken, as well as the number of college prep courses that you take. So they do look at that. It's just you don't get that extra grade point for those particular courses. And let's see, is there anything else? They do require more reading. There's usually more writing, more essays in those classes. There can be summer work, so just be aware of that. You're going to want to check the website, the Amador website, probably in May, last week of school-ish, so end of May, beginning of June, to see if there's any summer work. And really, you're going to want to take classes that you're interested in. So don't take an honors course just to take an honors course. Make sure that you're actually interested in it. Otherwise, I feel like it feels like it's more work than enjoyable. So just make sure that you're keeping that in mind. There's also honors geometry and honors algebra 2, potentially at the freshman level, depending on where you are in the math sequence. Those are also not weighted honors courses. And I think this is going to transition to Ms. Tuig, who's going to talk a little bit about balance when you're selecting your classes for next year.
Thank you. Yeah, so you have just heard about all of the different classes that you have the ability to choose for your first year of high school. And it's very exciting, maybe a little overwhelming. And so you're probably going, okay, I want to take all the classes. And it's very common to see our students want to take just a really full, rigorous course load. And so we want to just take a moment to talk about burnout and balance as you approach your schedule for next year, and also as you approach your kind of high school career. So the overall message is we really want you to not overdo it. We want you to challenge yourself, but also maintain some sense of balance. So we can go to the next slide and I'll dig into that. Okay, so what we see a lot is students really prioritizing their academics at Amador, which is great to an extent, but we also see students doing that at the expense of things like their relationships, sleep, exercise, having fun, spending time with their family. And so when you're doing that, when you're not prioritizing those factors, your overall health and well-being can start to decline. And you think that you're doing the right thing by prioritizing academics over everything else, but what you actually see is that your academic performance starts to decline along with your health and wellness. So it's really important to us that we encourage you to really focus on trying to be a whole, healthy, happy person while also performing, to your abilities academically, challenging yourself, enjoying school, but still having a life and rest and health outside of school. All of those things are really essential for your academic success. So things like self-motivation, self-discipline, time management, and being able to prioritize, those are really important things. And you have to kind of look holistically, right? Ms. Bell was talking about how you want to look at your courses holistically and your schedule holistically. And we also want you to look at your life holistically. So please choose your courses wisely. Don't sign up for more than you can handle. You don't need to overdo it, especially not your freshman year. And I think the next slide is some questions that you can kind of reflect on. So yeah, perfect. So some ways to think about, am I allowing balance in my life? How do I avoid some burnout with choosing my courses? First, you can use your middle school years as a gauge. Were the courses you took, were they a little too easy? Were you maybe a little bored? Were they too challenging? Were you already feeling stressed out and losing sleep and not able to spend time on other things that are important to you? Were the grades that you got better or worse than you expected? Did you get enough sleep? I love this question. What did I sacrifice to be successful? Were there things that you had to sacrifice to be successful that maybe you don't actually feel good about the fact that you sacrificed that? You want to think about your commitments outside of the classroom. Are you involved in clubs, sports, band? Do you have a job? Do you have responsibilities around the house, helping family members? Any of those commitments that you have outside of the school day are going to impact your schedule. They're going to impact your mental health, your physical health, and how you do in the classroom as well. So you got to think of your time as a pie chart, right? You spend some of it in school and some of it doing homework, but then there's all the rest of this pie chart, and we need space on that, in that pie, for sleep and fun and rest and activities of interest to you and time with family, etc. Right? So be considerate of that as you're choosing your courses to make sure you have enough time. A couple other questions that focus more on your classes. What do you like about school? And really trying to emphasize and focus on classes that play to your strengths and play to your interests and the things that you enjoy about school. If you take one less rigorous course, would your grades improve overall? It's a really important question. We don't want you to be struggling through all of the hardest classes and not being able to really get good grades. If you maybe just took it down, to one, take it down a level in one course, would the rest of your grades be able to improve? What are my priorities? Not only academically, but outside of school, like we've been saying. And what are you willing to sacrifice? And what are you not willing to sacrifice? What are your values and the things that are important to you that you're just not willing to sacrifice? We would suggest that you not be willing to sacrifice sleep. Please go to bed at a decent hour. Your sleep is so critical to your success in all areas of your life. So really be considerate of that. Next slide, please. So really the idea is that students should be taking courses each year that kind of increase a little bit in rigor while still being able to maintain your strong grades. And we like to see this upward trend, and colleges like to see this upward trend. Colleges are really not expecting freshmen to be like out of the gate, like with all of the hardest classes, straight A's, like really intense. They really like to see that you're progressing and growing over your 4 years of high school. Earning straight A's in the hardest possible classes is truly not required, nor is it recommended if it's going to stress you out and make you sacrifice things for, sacrifice your health. And so really we want to focus each year, just get a little bit more rigorous, challenge yourself. We want to see growth academically and otherwise, while still being able to maintain those grades and that balance. And, just a side note, high school is more rigorous than middle school. And so that is something that you also want to factor in. It's just going to feel harder simply because you're in high school. And so that is a level of rigor in itself to make sure you're factoring in. Next slide. So you're thinking about your courses for next year, but we also want you to be thinking about your courses and kind of your plan for high school throughout all 4 years and how you'll maintain balance in those over the course of the 4 years. You don't need to wait until high school starts to start your 4-year planning. And our counseling website has a lot of really great resources to help you with that 4-year planning and thinking about the courses and your goals over the next 4 years. So just a couple of tips for creating that 4-year plan. When you are creating it, keep your individual needs, interests, abilities, strengths in mind. This is your plan. It's not your friend's plan. It's not your, classmates' plan. It's your plan. And so what is interesting to you, what is challenging to you, what balance looks like for you is going to be different than the rest of your classmates. So try and avoid, comparing notes with all of your friends and really allow this to be about you for the next 4 years and beyond, even in college. Take some time to research the courses that we're offering in the program guide. You may find classes that you had never thought of, never heard of, that sound really interesting to you. And so we want to encourage you to really have a sense of what we offer and get excited about the possibilities of what you can take over the next 4 years, because we have some really incredible classes that are fun. So take a look through that program guide. You definitely want to be flexible and be able to reevaluate your plan every year. The plan you set in place right now at the beginning of high school does not have to be the exact plan. It probably won't be, and it maybe even shouldn't be. It's not set in stone. So be flexible and be willing to make adjustments each year, but having a plan and a general sense of the direction you're going is always helpful. And again, thinking about those other commitments that you might have, particularly at each grade level. Maybe you're involved in an activity, and by the time you're a junior, you have a goal of wanting to be maybe in the leadership levels of that activity, which is going to require more time from you than maybe it had in years past. Or you might want to be captain of a team, or be able to take some of the classes that aren't available to you as freshman and sophomore that are more rigorous, right? So thinking about your commitments at each grade level, so you're not overwhelming yourself at each grade level, is also something to keep in mind. And I think this is the last slide for me. So we just want to draw your attention to our counseling website, because it is absolutely robust with resources and some really great things that you're going to want to look at as you are selecting your courses. We have sample 4-year plans, comparisons of the graduation and UC Cal State college admission requirements. We have the links to the course catalog and program guide, frequently asked questions. So probably the things that you're thinking about right now are answered in that frequently asked questions document. Information about our Cte Pathways and our ROP program. So much good stuff. So make sure you head there. If you have a question, it's probably there. So don't avoid using the website. Definitely click around in there. All right. I don't know who's next.
Thank you, Ms. Twig. I'm next. Yeah, so switching gears here. Ms. Twig talked a lot about balance and burnout, and, our wishes for all our high school students is that not only do you develop academically during your 4 years here, but also to develop personally, socially, and emotionally. Like, we can't forget all those other important aspects too. So next slide, Ms. Bell. So I want to reintroduce myself again. I'm Jennifer Yu. I am the support counselor here at Amador. This is probably something new to you all, just because at the middle school level, there isn't a position or a role like mine. So here at the high school level, students have access to, of course, their wonderful and amazing assigned counselor. But in addition to that, students also have access to a support counselor, me. My primary focus when working with students is to talk about those personal, social and emotional development in our high school students. I like to describe myself as the bonus counselor. Students kind of have access to me in addition to their assigned counselor. Thank you, Ms. Bell. And as freshmen, you'll all get to meet me again very soon. Every year at the beginning of the school year, I go into the health and global studies classes and we do like a quick presentation. I talk about the services we provide. I tell them, okay, what's the difference between an assigned counselor and a support counselor, what we offer. So freshman students will get to learn a little bit more about my role and what we do as a counseling department. Next slide, please. Thank you. I also wanted to talk about a really wonderful resource we have on campus. This is our AV Wellness Center. It's a really calm and quiet space for our students. And the intention behind the creation of a wellness center is that we want a space for students to have access to if they ever feel like they need a break in their day. They can come in, take 15 minutes. The student have certain things that they can do while they're in the wellness center, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But this is a great resource for students. We want students to know not only do they have access to a wonderful counseling department, there's also the wellness center. Again, as freshman students, you'll be introduced to the wellness center and you get to have like a little tour. Your health classes will bring you into the wellness center. We're going to give you a little tour, show you around, talk to you a little bit more about the wellness center. You'll probably be hearing a lot about it once school starts in the fall for you all. Next slide. So what are students doing in the wellness center? So if students are coming in, they're asking for permission from their teacher to come into the wellness center. What are you doing while you're there? We're really wanting students to be intentional about what they do there. Are we practicing evidence-based coping skill, right? Are we actively working on coping if we're having a really difficult time? We can be resting, we can be meditating, we have yoga mats, we have some really nice tea and warm water that can help with some self-soothing. That we ask students if they would like to use a meditation app or a calming app. They can pull that up on their phone and we give them some time to kind of practice that. What students are not allowed to do, we're pretty structured with what students are allowed and what they're not allowed to do in the wellness center. We don't want students to abuse the privilege of being in the wellness center. So it's not a place to nap. It's not a place to like hang out with your friends. It's really for students who need a break. Let's take that 15 minutes to kind of recenter ourselves if we're feeling really overwhelmed. Next slide, please. The Wellness Center also is a space that we utilize as a counseling department to host a variety of workshops. We are looking forward to hosting workshops that are usually more wellness related, like yoga workshops. We have a wonderful upperclassman student who is a certified yoga instructor. So she has helped us out and have hosted yoga workshops before. We are also hoping to host workshops on coping skills where students can learn more of those skills that can really help us recenter ourselves if we're having a really difficult time. We're hoping to have more discussions about balance and burnout, test anxiety, grief management. We typically run counseling groups throughout the year. Currently, we're running a little small stress management group. And again, students are introduced to this via a variety of formats in the school year. We offer these access workshops and they get to sign up using FlexiSchedule. Students are going to be told about these workshops via counseling newsletter, via email. So students will have opportunity to learn about these awesome opportunities. So again, the Wellness Center is kind of where we operate, where a lot of this is going to be hosted. So we're excited to see students utilizing the Wellness Center. It's a great resource, and if anyone have any questions about it when they come as freshmen, I'm your girl. I'll be the one to talk to a lot of our freshman students about the Wellness Center, and I'll be happy to provide tours. Thank you. I think next is Ms. Ponce.
Yes, thank you. So now we're gonna go over the College and the Career Center. In the College and Career Center, we have Ms. Woodworth and Ms. Bays, who are amazing. And they're here to support students by hosting college rep visits, planning college and career fairs. They also organize scholarship, host academic support workshops. And then they're the people that I'm sending students that have like those questions about internships and stuff, or questions about ROP. Ms. Bays is typically here Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, all day. And then Ms. Woodworth is here Tuesday through Friday from 9 to 2. So they're an amazing resource on campus for our students as well. Next slide, thank you. And how you could access your counselor. So when you are officially a freshman, which is on your first day of freshman year, there's a couple of ways that you could access your counselor. The first one, which is our highly recommended one, is attending a workshop during access. So the way you will find out about those workshops is by checking your email and by listening for announcements of upcoming workshops that we'll be hosting. And you sign up for those workshops via FlexiSketch. You could also submit an appointment request using your counselor's booking link, which is located on our website. And also typically we have them at the end of our emails. You could also email your counselor if you have a quick question. And of course, you could drop in during brunch or lunch. Next slide, please. So here are some important dates and events that are coming up. So our first one is our Pleasanton Virtual Academy Information Night. That will be on January 31st. And there's more details to come on that. The next one is our course selection window, which will be open from February 1st through the 15th. Students have from the 1st to the 15th to select their courses, change them, edit them, anything between those dates students could do. The next one is our Avid application deadline. Submit your Avid application anytime between February 1st through the 15th. So same thing as our course selection window, or you also submit your Avid application between that time. And then Avid interviews are anticipated to take place the first week of March, but please check your email for information on that. And then last is our late March/early April, we'll be sending letters to students and family to confirm their course selections for next year's. Students and family will be contacted by your current counselor with recommendations for summer school if that's also something students need as well. Next slide, please. So the way students will be signing up for their courses is via Q, the Student Connect Center. And you'll log in with your password and your username. And again, just a reminder, you have from February 1st through the 15th to go ahead and select your classes. Next slide, please. So here is a bunch of links that are very, very helpful, like the PUSD pathways that we talked about, our P information, our counseling website, our course selection sheet. So if you have any questions, of course, you could put them in our chat, but also look at some of these websites that have a lot of great information. Next slide, please. And then at the end of our presentation or later, tomorrow, whenever, please don't forget to click this circle right here to learn more information about the courses directly from our amazing teachers. Next slide. Oh, and that's it. Thank you all for coming and participating and hearing us go over some of the scheduling information.
All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. So we see that you've submitted a lot of questions to the Google form. Thank you. We're actually going to go over some of the ones that we did not cover in this presentation, or maybe there just needs to be a little bit of clarity on. So if you feel like your question didn't get answered, please sit tight. We still have record of all those questions and we will try to find a way to get you that information. Either way, there is a very high probability your question can be answered on our Amador counseling website. So after this presentation, please, we really want to encourage you to visit it. It's very robust, tons of information, and really want to encourage you to check it out. So let's get started on our questions. Let's see, who has the first one? Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so, oh, where'd Miss Tua go? Oh, there you are. Okay, so why don't you get us started?
I will get you started. So there were a lot of questions about outside courses, and what I'm actually going to do is share my screen and show you where you can find all of the information about outside courses and answer some of those questions along the way, because we have a lot of information on our website and it's a very, very helpful page. So give me just one moment here. Sorry, guys, I was not prepared with the, okay. So first thing that I want to draw your attention to on our counseling website, if you go on the sidebar and go to courses taken outside of PUSD, you will come to this website. So the question is, a lot of the questions that we got were, can we take courses outside over the summer and have them apply to high school for high school credits? So the short answer is yes and no. High school begins on the first day of ninth grade. So courses taken prior to the first day of ninth grade are not considered high school courses, with the exception of math or world language courses. And so any course that you would take this summer, if it's not a math or world language course, is not something that we would add to our transcript, be used for credit, or be used towards graduation requirements. If it is a high school level math or world language course, we will footnote it on your transcript. So it won't be given credits in high school and it won't be factored into your GPA, but it can be used to get you to the next level in math or language. And for the UCs, and geometry, that was a very specific question. If I took geometry over the summer, will it count for the UCs? And yes, the UCs will allow you to have the geometry credit like checked off, but it won't count towards the required years of math for the UCs. So hopefully that makes sense. So I want to make sure that you know about this website, take a look at it. And let me go to the specific question that is being asked. Want to take geometry, science, or world language over the summer? How does that work? So I think I explained that one. Yeah, okay. Anything else to add? I will read to you the UC guidance just so that you know that this is coming from the UCs and not just from PUSD. We work closely with the UCs to make sure that the choices that we make regarding our policies are in line with their requirements. So according to the UCs, a direct quote from the UCs is, students need to complete A to G courses in high school, not middle school. The only exceptions for high school level math are, so the only exceptions are for high school level math and language other than English courses. And that's primarily because they can be validated by higher level coursework completed in high school. No other subject areas can be validated. Hopefully that helps.
All right, I think I have the next question. The question is, could students attend AP exams if they do not take the course at Amador? And unfortunately not due to space constraints. Unless you are enrolled in the AP course at Amador, you would not be able to take the exam at our school. You may be able to look around in the area and you may be able to take the test at a different site, but not at Amador.
So I have combo A period option questions. So I'm gonna try and answer them all together. First one is, can you confirm if choir also qualifies for A period? Yes, it does. What subjects are offered or can be taken during A period? Ninth grade PE, orchestra, and wind ensemble. So it just depends on band and orchestra placement, and that's more towards your sophomore, junior, and senior years. For freshmen, if you're a music student, you'll be taking A period PE. Is it possible to apply for A period even if none of your electives are band or music related? Currently, A period is only being offered to music students. We will be sending out a survey of questions to have families answer if you have an interest in A period. More specifically for students who are also taking other specialty courses like Avid, leadership, journalism, engineering. And if A period was available, wanting to gather some information from students to see what they would want to take if A period was available. So assume that it is not available. It's not going to be an option for A period for non-music students for next year, but this is your chance to kind of put your in your perfect world, if you could have an A period, what class would that be? So we are going to be gathering that information. We know that there are families also that have an interest in taking an A period, even if they aren't planning on taking one of those courses. And I think the district's aware of that as well. But for right now, it's current students that are going to be taking a music class do have the option to take A period. Again, it's orchestra, band, and choir. And then we'll send out the survey to see if students who are interested in possibly, if A period was available, what you would want to take if you're enrolling in another specialty course.
Are we ready for my next question? Okay.
Yes.
So the next question about outside courses is, what outside classes can I take that will apply on my transcript? So I'd like to refer you back to that website where we talk about our policy and all of the details about it and how you can actually verify whether a course would be something that we would add to a transcript. You are allowed to take over the course of high school a total of 40 credits of out of district courses. Only 10 of those credits can come from high school level courses taken at an outside institution. And then you could take a total of 40 from a community college. So 40 total overall. If you wanted to take 10 of those from a high school level outside institution, you could do that, and then 30 from community college, or mathematically how you'd want to add that up, but 40 credits total. And it can only be one course in each subject area. So you can't do like 3 math classes at Las Positas and transfer them onto your transcript. You could take 1 math class at Las Positas and transfer that on, but not 3. So it has to be only 10 credits from each subject area. So there's a lot more in-depth information on the website, and also a step-by-step to how to find a UC approved course, which is important when you're looking at high school level outside courses. So that's going to walk you through it. It's a little bit nuanced depending on exactly where you're trying to get a course. So definitely head there.
Cheryl, I don't remember. Did you answer the one about band? That next
Oh,
one?
sorry.
That's okay. I wasn't sure.
Let me look. I was on the other tab. No. Okay. So for students in marching band, can they skip PE in their sophomore year? You would need to participate in 2 seasons of marching band to waive your remaining 10 credits. So if you did marching band, if you're doing marching band your freshman year, and then going into your sophomore year, you're planning on doing marching band again, then you do not need to sign up for you do not have to sign up for PE as a sophomore. You do have to take PE as a freshman.
Thank you. I have the next one. If we choose a PLTW course like computer science, engineering, biomed, do you take into consideration 8th grade marks? If so, which specific subjects, or will it be overall grades? So not necessarily. So you'll want to check the program guide to see what the recommendations are. Some of them you'll notice require like a minimum level math requirement, like Algebra 1, or at least having a strong foundation prior to starting it. So just make sure you're mindful of that. But please think of high school as a fresh start. This is an opportunity for you to explore and really, dive into those CTE classes and see what you're interested in. And also those courses, think about your learning style. A lot of those courses are very hands-on. And so if that's how you learn best, maybe you don't have like the most stellar grade in math where that requirement is, but maybe this still is a good fit for you because of the way it is taught and the way that you learn. So just be mindful of that. Check out that spreadsheet of courses. There's a lot of information, especially from our CTE teachers, about what their courses look like and what those requirements are. So please think of high school as a fresh start, but just keep in mind your own abilities, interests, and capabilities, and all your other, commitments.
All right, the next question is about college eligibility with a request to send the chart that we shared earlier of the requirements for graduation versus community college versus UC, CSU eligibility. And this presentation will be shared with everybody. And the chart that you are looking for is posted on the counseling website under the academic planning tab. And there you will see each subject area requirement compared by what's required for graduation versus what is required for four-year college. And the four-year college requirements listed are specific to the UC, the University of California, and the CSU, California State University systems. Other colleges, private and out of state, may have different requirements, but generally these four-year college requirements that we have listed are a good sort of benchmark. And just to point out as well that the requirements to attend a community college are, it's an open door policy for community college. So if a student has a high school diploma, or if they are 18 years old, they can attend a community college.
I have the next one. Let's see. I do not see marching band on the 9th grade course selection form. Will this appear in Q? It won't. It will not. You will actually sign up for concert band. Marching band is not an actual class. It's an activity. It is required to take if you are enrolled in concert band as a freshman. So it'll be like the accompanying activity with concert band, but it's not an actual class. Now, when you want to apply for a waiver on your transcript, or let's say it's approved, marching band will show up on your transcript as a waiver, but it's not going to ever be an actual class. So you won't earn credit, but you'll earn a waiver for it if you choose to utilize that option.
Okay, tag, it's back to me. This question is about AP courses for 9th grade students. And there are no AP courses that are offered and available to 9th grade students. They do have access to honors courses, like honors freshman English, honors global studies, honors geometry, etc., which is great on a college application. It shows that a student's challenging themselves. And it's just really not a rush to get to all the APs right away. As we talked about, colleges are really looking for a steady increase of rigor while still maintaining quality grades in the courses that they take year over year. There is the very rare occasion where a student is highly advanced in math, and the next course in their math pathway might be AP calculus, but for 99.9% of freshman students, there are no AP courses that are appropriate for their schedule.
My student is taking Spanish 1A and 1B at middle school. Do they get to count 2 years of middle school towards 1 year in high school or get the 5 credits. So Spanish 1A, 1B in middle school covers the curriculum of 1 year in high school, but the courses will be footnoted on the transcript, but no high school credit will be granted. However, level 1 of the UC CSU language requirement will be complete. They will need to complete level 2 to meet the minimum subject requirement.
All right. The next question is, if a student has been doing art and dance education outside of school for the last 5 to 6 years, will it be considered toward the VAPA visual and performing arts requirement? Unfortunately not. It would need to be a UC approved course to meet that requirement, but we do have a ton of different options in that category: drama, art, ceramics, band. So lots of different options to meet everyone's needs.
All right. If you are bilingual without taking the high school courses, do you still have to take language other than English classes? And the answer is, it depends. If there is an AP exam offered by the College Board for that particular language, such as Spanish, Korean, I don't have all the exams that the College Board offers memorized, but you can check that on their website, collegeboard.org. But if there is an AP exam for that language other than English, your student could take that exam, earn a qualifying score, typically a 3 or higher, and that exam score can be used to fulfill the world language requirement for college admissions eligibility. And just to note, as of this year, there are no longer any SAT subject tests for languages. So you will be looking at the College Board's website for AP exams. And that will enable your child not to take the high school courses, 2 levels or 3 levels of that particular world language.
Okay, I have the next one. Okay, do you have a template for 4-year planning if there's clarity on the type of courses a student wants to pursue in college, for example, computer science? Heck, yes, we do. And I hope you don't mind if I share my screen for a moment. Very excited about these templates. Oh. Okay, so under our academic planning page, hope you guys are all familiar with this by the end of this presentation. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Check out those really cool high school and college requirements, eligibility. Right here, you will see the sample 4-year plans. You click on that, and here they are. A lot of them are, all of them hit the minimum college eligibility requirements for the UC-CSU. They might not hit the recommended, but they all hit the minimum. They all hit your graduation requirements without having to do anything outside. And they also complete most of the Cte Pathways that we offer. So I really want to encourage you to check these out. So we have like the engineering, health sciences, they're all there. But obviously you can adjust these, to meet your own needs and where kind of where you're at in pathways and what have you. But yes, we absolutely have some templates for you to follow. So really want to encourage you to check those out.
Okay, the next question is kind of talking about if you're taking language through heritage schools. So if you're kind of a native speaker or also just learning a heritage language. So my child already took Chinese 3 in 8th grade at CACC and plans to take AP Chinese at CACC in 9th grade. How do you transfer the credits? So we do accept language credits from heritage schools like CACC, and we have a world language petition on our website that you would need to fill out. And then we would also need to receive the transcript from CACC. And that is what you would need to do to get those credits.
All righty, I have the next question. If a student completes Algebra 2 outside of school in the summer, what math class should they select for 9th grade? So the next course in the math sequence after Algebra 2 would be pre-calculus or honors pre-calculus. But again, as we talked about before, we'd really advise not sort of rushing through the math sequence and taking courses over the summer, especially with Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 and really any math class, because math is sequential, and the subsequent courses that your student will take will draw upon pretty comprehensive knowledge that is assumed your student has mastered from the previous level. So if your student is taking Algebra 2 over a 6-week period over the summer, it's possible that they may not be fully prepared for pre-calculus in the next year. But if your student is taking a math course outside of school over the summer, please sign up for the next course in the math sequence.
Does Amador offer B period this year in addition to A period? So the only course that we offer during B period is Jazz B.
Okay, we have the final question. It's about are AP and honors courses the same thing? They are not. They are not the same thing. So honors courses may or may not carry weight. When I mean weight, I mean they have that grade bump. So they're, instead of that 4-point scale, they're going to be on that 5-point scale. Again, not all of them carry weight. We do have on our website a list of which honors courses carry weight and which ones don't. AP courses, also all of them carry weight, and they end with an AP course at the end if you choose to take it. I do want to emphasize though too that you only get a grade bump in both honors and AP courses if you earn a C- or better. A D is worth the same and F is worth the same numerically on the GPA scale. But that's it. That's the pretty big differences. Honors courses that carry a grade bump are kind of nice because you have that grade bump and then you don't have to take that scary AP exam at the end to potentially earn credit in the colleges. But that is our last question for tonight. We do want to thank you all for logging on. There's a lot of you. We hope this information was helpful. Again, this will be shared on our website in a couple of days, the recording as well as the slide deck. This whole slide deck will be posted. We'll even add a few more slides that are a little bit more in depth about the different course options specifically for freshmen. So that'll be available to you hopefully by next week. Kind of busy, but we'll get that to you as soon as we can. So thank you all. If you have any questions, of course, you have your current counselor who can help you out because they're just as knowledgeable and amazing. So please reach out to them, and we look forward to meeting you when you are officially a freshman at Amador Valley High School. So thank you. Bye.